RISA 3D version 13 now includes new improvements for reviewing the details and defaults of connections. So here I've already have RISAConnection version 13 open. I'm going to go ahead and add a new connection type to this particular project. And so when I do that, I can select from my available connection modules. And within that, if I select one here and then I click this new detailed view button, I can see some connection detail options that I can predefine to specify the connection in a way I want. So in this particular one, I could go ahead and change the girder or beam connection to bolted or welded. I can go ahead and change the angle type from single to double angle, and then I can choose the beam section. Now when I'm ready, I've defined the connection details as I want them. I can go ahead and either add this to a current project, I can also create a new project, and I can define the name for this particular connection. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just click Create Connection. And now I have that connection based on those individual details added to my particular model. Now this allows the users the ability to predefine some of the standard parameters that you would use here in the connection properties. These include the column orientation, section types for columns, beams, and braces, as well as the connection type, bolted or welded, and then where applicable, even the seismic system. Now another new improvement to the RISAConnection version 13 is the ability to utilize our defaults viewer. So I'm going to go ahead and open our defaults viewer here. And so this actually gives us and allows us to use the same information as the connection detailed view, but allows us to define defaults that we can use when starting new connections. So in this particular case, we can see the steps to define a new default connection. So I'm going to go ahead and choose one. So let's say a girder to beam connection here. In this particular case, there's no default connection defined here, so we can see there's nothing in this list. And so we can choose that maybe the left beam will be bolted, the right beam will be bolted. We can see the picture is updating here. And then both the left and the right beam are going to be a wide flange connection. So the next thing we want to do is go ahead and create this connection. So I'll create the connection. We want to go ahead not to create a new project, just add it to this particular project. So now I've got this default connection. I could go ahead and change any of the other properties I wanted to. So I could choose different beam sections or girder sections, for instance. And then I can go ahead and click this Save as Default button to then add it now to my defaults dialog. So I'll click Save as Default. And then here, this little window pops up. We say we successfully saved the default for this particular connection. Here are the options you chose, and click OK. And now if I go back into the defaults viewer, we can see that default connection now exists. Now, if we want to go ahead and define another one, I'm going to scroll down here to this direct weld connection. We can see, again, some of the options here, choose some of the options that we want. Just in the same fashion, if we wanted to add a second default, maybe in this case, our first default as we can see it is bolted connection. I can go ahead and say, actually, I want this to be all welded here in this case. And then I can go ahead and create this particular default connection type. No, I don't want to create a new project. I want to add it here. And now this is going to be our welded configuration. And I can go ahead and say Save as Default. Yes, we're going to wide flange, and welded. Okay. And then back in the defaults viewer, we can see we have two of those options now. So we have default connection 1, which is our bolted connection, and the default connection 2 is our welded connection. The connection details view, along with the defaults viewer, provides engineers with enhanced control over individual connection configurations, streamlining the definition process and saving time. For more information about these new improvements, as well as the new release of RISAConnection, please visit our website, risa.com.